What's up, guys? This is Heking here, bringing you another movie review. This time on Thor Ragnarok, aka For Free, aka as it's known in Japan, Metaphor Battle Royale, as they would call it. Yeah. So yeah, Thor Ragnarok, and hello there. What are you doing here? Right. Who are you again? Right. Okay. What are you doing here? No, seriously. What? Speak. You can't speak. Right. You don't have a mouth. Right. Okay. This is weird. I've got a mouse attached to my hand. Okay. I'm just gonna roll with it the same way Thor Ragnarok rolled with it when it started. You know, you're either on board with it or you're not, because so many people are complaining that it's a comedy and it's not serious enough. I mean, do comic book films have to always be serious? Do they have to be serious? What's that like? Right, a little bit. Okay, they can be serious and funny sometimes. Right. Okay. Seriously, this is weird. Can you go away? No. Okay. You know what I'm talking about, right? Right. Okay, we're gonna. Oh, just look at the camera. Yeah. Yeah. Look at the camera. Yeah. Just wave to everyone. Yeah. So yeah, is it good? It was. It was really, really wicked, don't you think? It was cool, right? Yeah, it was awesome. So I just got back from watching it and I'm surprised. I'm surprised at how well this movie was, especially with how funny it was. I mean, this is hands down the funniest MCU movie to date. Like, it literally is. It really is funny. And I know some people are going to hate that. They're going to hate it, aren't they? Yeah, because some people just don't like humor. They want a serious movie. And I get that. I do. But from the very beginning that this movie was, or in this case, when the movie's director was announced, it was pretty obvious that it was going to be a comedy movie, or as it was described, a road adventure sort of film, sci-fi film. And that's pretty much what it is, isn't it? Yeah, that's really all you can do, nod your head. Seriously, you're just like making me very nervous being here. Like, can you just like go off screen? Okay, I'm a bit freaked out, but yeah. So let me just get it pointed out, right? This movie, like I said, is funny. It's probably hands down the funniest MCU movie today. I laughed a lot watching this film, and that's very rare for me, because usually some of these films, you know, they make me smile or probably chuckle a bit, but I never laugh out loud, and not a lot as well, especially with the way this movie did it, right? Because the humor in this film is done right. Okay, it hits, it lands. The director they got for this just knew what kind of film he was making, and they allowed him to do it, and it just works. The humor in this film works a lot. Like, holy crap! Like I said, it's just funny. It's the best way to compare it to is to say that this is pretty much a modern version of Flash Gordon. Yeah, Flash Gordon, right? Right, yeah. Like I know that film was a bit cheesy as well, and this movie has a lot of cheesy parts to it, and at times it does feel a bit rushed, especially the third act. Really, the third act, because, you know, the first two acts of this film are done really well. But once it gets to the third act, it just sort of goes a bit too fast. I mean, I wish it would have slowed down a bit. And as for the serious and emotional moments, they are there. They are in this movie. They are there. And they are really good. Like, this movie knows when to go for the emotional feel, and it knows just to when to go for the laughter. And the way it does the humor is just, it's terrific. Like, it's not like For the Dark World, for example, where the humor was just, it didn't fit. Like, they would have a serious moment, and there would be a joke to just sort of ruin the moment, and it didn't work, and some of the humor just didn't feel right. But the humor in this movie, like, everything that happens, just, it feels realistic, because there's three things going on in this movie. A, they hired a director who knows how to do comedy. Two, or B, as I would say, but I turned my fingers around before I did that sign there. Two, yeah, peace sign. Two, like, they let him do his job. I mean, Tahiti Wakari, I think his name is, or Wakati, or Waktiti. My God, I'm gonna get flagged for that, aren't I? Three is the improvisation, because a lot of the movie's performances are improvisation. It's not just actors reading lines from a script. So a lot of the dialogue, a lot of the attitudes, a lot of the performances feel very real. Wouldn't you say? Yeah. Yeah, hey, look, you're confusing me. Stop nodding. Yes? Yes, okay, yeah, he's agreeing. Cool, cool, cool. What are you? You don't have teeth. You don't have teeth. What are you trying to bite me for? Well, then don't do that. Okay, stop it. So yeah, let's talk about the visual effects and stuff and the cinematography. Gorgeous. It's gorgeous and spectacular to look at. This is some of the best like visual effects in a film. And okay, I'm just mouthing off bullshit, aren't I? Yeah. I'm just gonna keep it simple. It's beautiful to look at. It's like a painting come to life. Okay, that's the best way to describe it. It's like a painting come to life. A lot of the visual effects in this film and cinematography it looks a lot more professional and cinematic than Dark World did. Like, Dark World just felt cheap, but this just looks like, wow. It's really good. It's really good. And the soundtrack is amazing. The soundtrack is really memorable in this movie, which is a first to say because a lot of the Marvel movies, they have good themes, they have good villain themes, they have good moments, good tracks here and there, but you never really remember the soundtrack as a whole. And this film does have some awesome tunes to it, especially one of the songs from the trailer which they used in this, which is catchy and awesome as hell. They use it twice in this movie for two badass moments, the opening and the ending, and like it's just a great way to get you pumped and hyped for this film. So yeah, Chris Hemsworth returns in this as the Mighty Thor, or Son of Odinson, and he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. Like, honestly, I'd say this is his best performance as the character, because they really make him shine and make him feel like his own now. Like, he has to go through this entire journey now because, as you know, anyone who's seen the trailers knows that he loses his hammer, obviously. So now he has to go through this film without having his big powerful weapon, and it's a unique experience to see him go through this without having to rely on his own strength as well, because like if you guys remember Age of Ultron, there was that whole thing where suddenly he was bursting lightning out of his body, and yeah, like as I suspected, I think a lot of people suspected, the hammer was just always there to just sort of conduct his power outwards in a safe manner. With this film, we get to see, you know, Thor go through a massive change and become a very powerful character. And then of course we have Tom Hiddleston, who returns as Loki, and he's awesome too. Like, he's always awesome. He's hands down one of the best actors in this series, in this franchise, and his performance here is just memorable and awesome as well. The banter and the chemistry that he has with Thor as well. Like, you see these two characters grow in terms of the relationship, especially Thor as well, where there's a moment in this movie where Thor pretty much tells Loki that he's grown. Like, a lot of people, they go through these emotions and journeys and they never really change, but Thor has, and he tells Loki that he hasn't, that he's still the same, and he could be a lot more if he just grows out of his nasty little ways. And you know, Loki in this movie isn't an all-out villain like he was in the previous films. Here he's pretty much just sort of like a rival / helper. He does help out, and he does get some cool sort of heroic moments here, but for the most part he is still his sneaky mischief self. He is the god of mischief after all, so you still do see that side of him, but for the most part he's fun, as he always is. And of course we have Mark Ruffalo returning as Bruce Banner, the Hulk. And I know a lot of people are going to be worried about the Hulk being able to talk. And yeah, he does talk, but not in the way you would expect. He talks like a child would talk. He feels like a 5-year-old. You know, he just says a few words. He can't have a full-on conversation with characters, and for the most part his actions speak louder than his words. But you do get a lot of funny moments of him where he's trying to have a conversation with Thor, and you do get a lot of sweet little moments as well where he's just very quiet or trying to like express some emotion out of himself, like to, you know, show that he's not really an all-out monster. And of course you have Banner as well, because this is two characters essentially that Mark Ruffalo plays, you know, Hulk and Bruce Banner. And Bruce Banner comes back after 2 years being the Hulk and suddenly realizing, holy crap, where am I? Like, the last time I was in control, I was on Sokovia with Natalia. Now with Natasha, now I'm here on this weird alien planet, and he's sort of losing it. But it's a really cool dynamic to have. For the most part, yeah, they kind of changed up a lot of the Planet Hulk storyline from the comics. But that's not, it's not a bad or a good thing either. For the most part, it works, because in the end of the day, this is Thor's journey, and Hulk just happens to be in it, and it's a nice way to get him involved in the action and for him to be there with Thor. And of course, we get, Loki as well. We get to see that chemistry between these characters as well. There's an especially awesome moment during the Thor and Hulk fight, which is a big highlight of this movie, by the way. Like, that fight doesn't disappoint. It's funny, it's action-packed, it's just all around cool to finally see these two really go at it. Because in the first movie, we didn't get a whole lot of it, but here you do. And because Thor doesn't have the hammer as well, as I said, he has to rely on his own strength and other weapons as such. It's just cool to see that aspect of the character. Like, it's brilliant. Like, definitely a highlight. Valkyrie, played by Tessa Thompson. And yeah, she's a cool character. She's basically a sort of a no bullshit type of character. Like, and honestly, I feel like this is what Wonder Woman should have been. Yeah, in a strange way, I feel like this is what Wonder Woman should have been. This is what a character should have been. Because, she doesn't see herself as, I'm a woman, I'm a badass, or I'm a warrior, and I'm all of this. No, none of that crap. Like, she's a person, she's a fighter, end of. She's got her own arc in this film. She's got her own problems she has to deal with, and by the end she does. And she's a badass, that's all she is. She takes no shit from anyone. And she's cool for it. And that makes her a very fine addition to this movie. And hopefully to the MCU as a whole. For the most part, this movie doesn't need a lot of interest. Jane's not in this. The other characters are not in this. And one of the things that makes this movie better is that all the characters, all the side characters, main supports, are all standouts in my opinion. Compared to the previous 4 movies where they were just sort of there and didn't really add anything. Or they just there for the sake of comedy. And I just found it annoying. So I'm happy they kind of did away with all of those aspects. One of the things that this movie does is pretty much get rid of all the stuff that didn't really work necessarily with the previous movies. The war is free, certain elements of Asgard and all that, and other aspects, the Jane and the relationships and the other supporting characters. That's all kind of gone. This is technically speaking a soft reboot. It's a conclusion to Thor's current trilogy, and it also feels like the start of a new one. So yeah, definitely a soft reboot, which then brings me to Jeff Goldblum. And it's Jeff Goldblum. Like, what more do you want me to say? He's himself. He's awesome, funny, flamboyant self. And as you all know, the Grandmaster is meant to be the Collector's brother in the comics. I don't know if that's it's hinted at that obviously he's an elder, I think, if that's what they call it. And obviously his look, and that does look similar to the Collector. But yeah, whether we're ever going to see these two characters on the screen remains to be seen. But yeah, Jeff Goldblum, in my opinion, steals the show. He's basically technically speaking, he's sort of the main villain of the movie for the most part until we go back to Hela. Because yes, the movie does start with Hela and then it ends with Hela. But like, she's hardly in it. Whereas Jeff Goldblum has just this massive energy and presence throughout the majority of the film, because the majority of the film takes place on Shakar, the Colosseum planet, instead of Asgard. So we get to see more of him, and he's just a fun character to look at. Just his little attitudes and quirks and cheesiness. It's just great, and he's a terrific actor for the most part. And then of course, speaking of Hela, she's one of the characters that was sort of underwhelming, along with characters like Scourge, played by Carl Urban, and Idris Elba's Heimdall. They're very underwhelming in this movie. I mean, Heimdall, for the most part, gets his moments to shine. And he has these moments where he kicks ass as well, but it's very little. He does have his own arc, but it's very small, and I wish they'd done more with his character. And then, of course, you got Scourge as well. He's got a terrific, funny introduction scene, and he's got a great ending scene too, but everything between that is just sort of meh. It's very boring. He's just sort of a very gloomy henchman-type character, and for a character called Scourge the Executioner, we don't really see him execute anyone, because for the most part, if you read the comics, you know exactly where his character is going to end up. You know exactly what his character role in this film is, and they do that part of the comic line storyline. We get to see that moment, but the biggest problem with that is it's not 100% like the comic, which then brings me to Hela, who's technically meant to be our main villain in this movie, our main threat. And Kate Blanchett does a great job. She's great. Her performance is great. She's hot and sexy as hell. Very threatening. Very powerful. Her action sequences, at least what she gets, are cool. The costume design, the helmet, the presence and energy she gives off are very sinister, very fun, and very in your face kind of parody. But she just doesn't have a lot of screen time. And I just wish she had more time to express herself as this very powerful character, because she's the goddess of death. She's meant to be the goddess of death, but they don't do a whole lot with her, but her backstory and the mythology they give her in this movie instead of the one that she has in the comics and Norse mythology is very different from this film. And for me, it's a lot more interesting because of the fact that she's Thor's and Loki's sister, basically. So yeah, we get another family feud chemistry in this. And her backstory is very related to with Odin's. And with Odin, he only has like one major scene in this movie, but it's a very good scene because it concludes the relationship between him, Thor, and Loki, while also setting up that aspect with Hela and her storyline, and it adds more to his character growth and change in the previous Thor movies. Because if you remember the previous Thor movies, Odin was all about peacekeeping and making Thor not be this war-hungry child or person. And in the second film, he kind of lost it a bit. It was a bit more anger, a bit more violent person. And this movie kind of explains why that is, because it's very tied in with who Hela is and what they need to do before Thor and Loki ever showed up. So that aspect, that mythology, that backstory is very great because it adds a lot of depth to Asgard, to Odin, to Hela's character, and it's great to see that. I just wish there was more screen time for her character, that's all. And then of course we got Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. He has a glorified cameo in this. His sequence is very great, very funny, and obviously we get a little hint of a rivalry between him and Loki. That's very quick, but also good chemistry between him and Chris Hemsworth's Thor. So that means hopefully we'll get to see that relationship build upon in Infinity War once all these characters come together. So yeah, great cameo sequence there. And of course other characters have cameo appearances as well, like Matt Damon and Sam Neill, and obviously Stan Lee. I won't say what the roles are, but it's very funny. Look forward to seeing it. Definitely look forward to keep your eyes open for that. In terms of negativity, well, for me personally, I would say the stuff that I wasn't really impressed by as a whole was that the movie's third act is very bombastic and it's very cool to see, but as a whole it does feel very rushed. A lot of characters' arcs sort of come to an end by then, and it just feels very, very rushed. But there's too much going on, and I wish the fight scenes at least were a bit more longer. And then of course, the Warriors 3, I think a lot of people are going to be upset by this. The Warriors 3 are wasted. They're gone pretty much instantly. We don't know where Sif is. She's sort of missing, so we don't know what they're going to do with her. Hopefully they won't waste her because Jamie Alexandra is a cool actress, and her character has room to grow. So hopefully they don't throw her character away and they bring her back in some shape or form. And yeah, honestly, this movie just gets a lot right. I mean, again, it's not perfect by any means. As a whole, this movie is funny. It gets the humor right. The visual effects are spectacular. The action is cool. That opening action sequence is just probably my favorite opening, in a Marvel movie in ages. And of course, that whole final battle and the way the music sing with that and the various other characters having their action moments is bombastic and awesome. And yeah, I'll give it an overall 8 out of 10. Definitely one of the best MCU movies to date. Definitely the best Thor movie, hands down. Definitely Chris Hemsworth's best performance as the character. And definitely Hulk's best role in the series to date. A cool but underwhelming villain as a whole. Beautiful visual effects. Beautiful cinematography. Cool action. Awesome soundtrack. Definitely a fun time. Give it a go. Or get it on Blu-ray if you're thinking of waiting. But yeah, that's my review for it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the addition of this little fella. And yeah, let me know what you think. You're probably going to say it's very weird and I should never do it again, right? Yeah, I probably won't do this again because, like I said, this movie was weird and this is a weird situation, so might as well go out with it, right? Right, yeah. So guys, as always, like, subscribe, and I shall see you when I shall see you. Take care and bye. Why were you looking up? Wave to the camera and say bye.